Hi, my name is Robert Larson. I'm the owner of Arsenal Law in Mesa, Arizona, formerly known as the Larson Law Office. Today, I wanted to talk about a scenario that we see a lot in family court and maybe give a little strategy for both moms and dads in this scenario. And this is a situation that we see like probably half of custody disputes. It is a situation where the mom wants to have primary rights for the children because the dad hasn't been involved, at least according to the mom. So in this situation, the mom will say, I'm the one who takes care of all their medical needs, their education needs, their extracurriculars, transportation, getting meals ready, making sure they're ready for school in the mornings and things like that. And the dad isn't very involved with their day-to-day lives. And so this is, like I said, this is about half the custody cases that we see that are disputed. And so I understand some for your particular situation, the roles may be reversed, or sometimes this scenario may not apply to your situation, but this does apply to a lot of people. So here's a couple of strategies that I see that can be successful for both the mom and the dad. This is not legal advice because if you want legal advice, you'd have to talk to either me or a different attorney about your specific situation. But these are some strategies that I see being successful with judges. So for dads, first of all, the obvious answer here is to become more involved. And it's fine that if you haven't been that involved in the past, because when you're in a co-parenting relationship and you're still together, people have um, shared responsibilities or division of responsibility. So one of you might do certain things and the other does other things. And so it often ends up in a situation where the mother is the one who's taking care of a lot of the needs for the kids and the dad's going to work and focusing on other things. That's fine, that's the past. But at this point, you're no longer together, so you need to start becoming more involved. That means you need to know who your kids' doctors are and dentists and other medical providers. You need to know who your kids' teachers are and where your kids go to school. That's right. Sometimes dads don't know where their kids go to school, and sometimes they don't know who their teachers are. And sometimes attorneys in court, when you're in front of the judge in a trial, they'll ask dads, "Who's your child's teacher?" And the dad will be like, I don't know. I can get that information. And then they'll ask, "Who's your kid's doctor?" And they don't know the answer. And so um, that's not going to lose your case for you by itself, but it is kind of embarrassing and looks bad in court when that happens. So find out not only who their doctors and teachers are, but make sure that you have access. So contact them and make sure that you are someone who gets notice about events that take place or appointments and things of that nature. Um, whether it's a school or a doctor's office or an insurance, health insurance provider, they typically have like online portals or even apps that you can go on and sign up for and get information and notices that way. And so with the schools especially, make sure you sign up for their app that way you can see their grades and attendance and things like that. And then also just start being more involved or being more aware of your kids' schedules and things like that. So their extracurricular activities and start helping out with more of the transportation and things of that nature. So when you start doing those things, it kind of takes away the argument that the mother might have when you go into court. She might say, he hasn't been involved, but you'll be able to counter and say, well, that was in the past, but now that we're not together anymore, I have been more involved because I realize that's something that needs to be done. And so that's going to be a good strategy. It'll be a good argument for you to put forth in court that you're becoming more involved and being more active in the kids' lives. Okay, so now for moms, what's a strategy you can do um, that would be in your favor? Well, you can start notifying the father and making sure that he's aware of appointments and schedules and things like that. So maybe you already do that, but what happens is if you go into court and you go in there and say, well, the dad's not involved, I'm the one who's doing everything. 99% of the time, the dad's going to say, well, she doesn't let me be involved. She doesn't tell me about things until it's too late or doesn't tell me at all. And whether that's true or not, if you don't have proof that you've been notifying the dad about things, that you've been giving him the ability to have access to information, it's going to be used against you. And so you want to start documenting and proving that you're giving the father notice of things that are happening, and you'll be able to use that in court. And there's two options really for the dad at that point. He can start becoming more involved as you give him that information, or he doesn't, and then you'll be able to show in court that it's not because of you, but it's because of him choosing not to be involved. So that's something you can do. Make sure that the dad is listed as the father of the children when it comes to their uh, schools and doctors and things like that. Because if they go into court and say, "Yeah, I tried to get information and I'm not listed as the dad, or maybe I'm listed as the father, but I'm not listed as someone who automatically gets notices, then that's going to look bad for you, and it's going to really defeat one of your stronger arguments, is that with the dad not being involved with things, because if he can show that you're not letting him be involved, it's going to kind of negate that. Another thing, just kind of going back to the dads, um, one strategy you don't want to use is you don't want to go into court and say, well, the mom's not telling me about, she's not giving me the kid's grades, she's not giving me the um, information from the parent teacher conferences and things like that. Because the judge is going to look at that dad and say, well, why aren't you getting that directly? You have access to that, so why do you expect the mother to spoon feed you that information? Because basically, when you say that, what you're doing is you're saying that the mom is the primary caregiver, and you're just kind of a background person. So anyway, those are just some strategies. Again, not legal advice, because I would have to know your specific situation to give legal advice. But those are some typical strategies that we see. So anyway, if you have any questions or comments, let me know. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe so you get more in the future. Thanks.